Today I'm going to show you how to make bags out of dog food bags, chicken feed bags, feed sacks, those kind of things. It's the ultimate recycle project. These make very durable bags to carry groceries, laundry, whatever you need. I like to use them to throw dirty clothes in when I travel back and forth, or use the extra strength for all those little flimsy bags I get at the grocery store or whatever and want to bring in multiple at a time. Great way to reuse. These are the plastic bags, they're not the paper lined dog food bags, or this one's a chicken food bag, but it's like the woven plastic, and that's the kind. You can find different things: chicken feed, cow feed, dog feed, bird seed, all kinds of bags. You just gotta feel it and get the non-paper lined ones. Okay, so the one I'm going to use today, the way I prep these bags is I take both ends loose, and there's usually perforations from where they were sewn on the top and bottom. I take those loose, turn it inside out. I usually take mine out with a water hose, wash out the inside, get all that dog food or feed residue off of it, let it dry, and then I'll bring it in. I'll use my quilting ruler, rotary cutter, and I will just lay my ruler down and slice off, or you can use your scissors, draw and cut a straight line, slice off that perforated edge and square it up. Now you'll need 5 inches off either the top or the bottom of the bag to make your handles with. So for this bag, I want this dog to be the focus picture on the bag. So I really don't want to take the 5 inches off here, because by the time I take my couple inches of roll, it's going to be down and he's only going to have a nose peeking. So I'm going to leave this intact, and from the bottom is where I cut my 5-inch piece that will become my handles. Okay, first we'll start with making the handles. So what I did was that little ring, it's glued at one point. You find where it's glued and you pull it apart. Sometimes it'll try to rip, so you gotta be careful, but you'll have this real rigid piece with the glue. I always just cut that little end off. So I'm left with one long thing. I'm going to go ahead and do the folding and sewing and make this like one long handle, and then I'll just cut it in half. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take and fold this lengthwise. And what I'll do is I'll take it on the corner, I'll take it on the corner of my table and I'll run it like this. That will give you a sharp seam. Okay? So that's how I'll do that. And then once I get my fold in the middle, I want these raw edges tucked in. So I'm going to take and open it back up, fold each raw edge towards that center crease I just made, and then I'm going to fold it over one more time. So I've got it folded in half towards the center, and then it's folded again. Okay, and there's the ends, if that helps. Fold, and then fold. And then I'll go ahead and fold, and I'll crease that all the way down. And then what I'm going to do is right along the edge here, maybe an 1/8 inch in, I'm going to stitch down both sides. I find it's best, personally, I find it best to go ahead and sew that open side first, so I can hold it, and then I go back and I I just stitch also along the fold. That gives it a little bit added strength, gives it that flatness, so it will keep its shape. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to my pause this, and I'll be back after I get it sewn. Okay, so my handle, I have folded it, stitched it on either side. Now what I'm going to do is just fold the ends together, find the center, and I'm going to get scissors and I'm just going to cut it. Now if you are using Mom's Sewing Room or Grandma's Sewing Room or anybody's, do not grab their fabric scissors. These are my dollar store paper scissors. If you see scissors that look like this, don't use those on this paper. Somebody will have a death wish on you. So my stitch length is set to 3. It don't have to be very small for this project, actually just enough to hold it together. So now that I have my handles, I'm going to set it aside. The next thing I do, I turn my bag inside out. Now I make sure that my center of my picture is center and it's folded and it's flat where I want it flat, which is on the sides. Okay, so I'm going to flatten that out on my table. Maneuver this down. Okay, so top of my bag is up this way. I'm gonna mark, and this is the bottom of my bag. So for the bottom of my bag, get my ruler here, get a Sharpie. Bottom of my bag, the first thing I want to do is I want to draw a line approximately. Now this ain't like fabric that has to fit anything or whatever, but you want a good straight approximate 1/2 inch line. So I'm gonna mark, I put my 1/2 inch line on there and mark, and then I'm gonna flip it over and mark that 1/2 inch. Okay, it's the bottom of the bag. But also to square this, give me a square ruler. I am going to mark some boxes. I'm going to come off this bottom line that I drew. Now for this bag, I'm going to do it a 3 inch by 3 inch square, or either 3.5 inch from the bottom edge or 3 inch from the line I drew up and 3 inch over, and I want to draw a square, and I want to do that on both sides. That's going to become the bottom, the boxy part of the bag. So if I do 3 inch squares, I can expect that to be doubled for the width of the bag. So my light keeps going off. So if I do a 3 inch square, the width of my bag, it will be about 6 inches wide, which is great for about a 50-pound bag. But of course, if I did like a 15 bag, I would scale that down to like maybe 1.5 to 2 inches. Just do the math, figure out how wide you want the bottom of your bag, and whatever that width is, cut it in half, and that's how big your square needs to be. So I'm gonna leave that line at the bottom, put my 3 inch mark, along the edge. There's 3-inch. Inch. And I'm going to show you up close. I'm going to do this on both sides, both corners, front and back, but I'm going to hold it up so you can see. So that's a 1/2 inch along the bottom, and then on top of that 1/2 inch I got a 3-inch square. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mark these and I'll be back. Okay, I have my 3-inch squares on top of my 1/2 inch. This is the bottom of the bag, and I have it on both sides, both corners. Now the next thing I'm going to also do, I've already started on this side, is on the top of the bag, I'm going to come and 1 inch down from the top, I'll draw a line, and then 2 inches down from the top, or 1 inch below your line you just drew, I'll do another line. And those are to mark when I hem. Also, when I roll it down. Also, what I want to do is on both sides, I want to come in about, say 4 inches and draw a line. These lines aren't going to show, so it matters not one bit if you use marker, pen, whatever you want to use. And I'm going to do that on both sides. Come in about 4 inches. And these little vertical lines I'm drawing, and I'll show them to you in a second, are the markers for the placement of the edge of the handle. So when I get ready to sew the handles in, it will give me that, how to mark it. Okay. So in the end, you'll have on both sides along the top 1 inch line across, 2 inch line across, and then 4 inches from the end, draw a line down. On the bottom, 1/2 inch all the way across the bottom, and then a 3-inch square on top of that 1/2 inch. Or if you go from the edge, it's 3.5 inch this way and 3 inch that way. But I just like to say 3 by 3 on top of that. So now the first thing I'm going to sew on the bag body is we're going to work on the bottom of the bag. And the first thing I'm going to do is at this 1/2 inch, I'm going to sew all the way across, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and do that and then come back and show you how to box the corners. Okay, try this again. I keep having technical difficulties. All right, I've sewn my corners along the lines. Have my box. Notice this flap is the same direction. I'm not twisted. As I sew, I start back up, and then I sew down, and I back up. Do the little reverse to lock your stitches. Once you turn this right side out, these will just kind of lay over in the bottom. Not worried about right now though. Okay, so we put the two marks along the top, 1 inch down and then 2 inches down. You're going to fold over on that 1 inch line. So you're going to fold the bag all the way around. So the first line is in this fold, the second line, this edge is right along the fold. So you fold down that 1 inch. And then we are going to pin the handles. Remember those little vertical lines at 4 inches we did? It's on the right outer edge on both sides. And I use 2 pins to keep it from trying to pull in towards the center. Well, in this case I use clips. I love these little Wonder Clips, okay? So I fold those. And I do that on both sides. Now, so I found my mark. I clip it twice with the outer edge. Now, I want to make sure the same side is up. So I'll run my finger up along. This is the side that's up. I find my mark, which is right there. And I'm gonna put the side, I'm gonna shove it up under there, all the way into the fold. And then I'm gonna put my 2 pins or clips or what have you to hold it. Now I'm gonna go to the sewing machine and I am going to sew, and I'll pick probably in the side somewhere to start. And I will sew about 1/8 inch off the edge here. I'm gonna sew right over those handles. Okay, and I'm gonna sew all the way around, one continuous seam. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna fold it again and sew again. Okay, ready to finish that? All right, so we pinned these handles in there and we sewed 1/8 inch along that bottom edge all the way around. So now what we want to do to finish the bag is we're going to fold these handles up, and we're going to run about 1/8 inch off the top edge and run right over the handles, and we're going to run all the way around, and that's going to keep the handles towards the top, and it's going to put a nice finishing finish sewing right along the bag. So one thing I do, I use those little clips. You can pin, or if you don't have to do any of that, you can just wait until you get to it. But you just got to remember to make sure the handles are upright before you sew across the top, because you don't want the handles having a tendency to be down on the inside of the bag. So we're gonna put those handles upward, top edge, 1/8 inch seam all the way around, and then we're going to come back and we're going to turn the bag right side out, and it's done. Okay, we're back. Went ahead, sewed along the top, sewed those handles in the upright position. Now the fun part. Crunchy. Now this bag is a little deeper. If I didn't want it as deep, I could always cut more than just that 5 inch off of the handle. So you could play with these. You want to push those bottom corners out. This one's kind of tall, but real tall. Like I said, instead of cutting off just the 5 inches for the handle, if I would have wanted to make it a little stockier, a little shorter, this one is, it ain't bad. I mean, it's a decent size. Maybe a little taller than like the old brown grocery sacks, but see how that box corner turns out, and then you got the top finished edge, and those little triangles in the bottom will lay flat once you get them all pushed out. But handy sack, carry stuff. It's strong because it was 50 pounds of feed. So, and those handles, I haven't had one break on me yet, and I've filled them pretty full of stuff. So really handy, cute project, real quick to make. Have fun.